On April 1st, 2010, the internet giant Google brought national attention to this community when it called itself Topeka for one day as an April Fool's prank after Topeka officials had temporarily renamed the city Google in what turned out to be an unsuccessful effort to get this city chosen as a test site for an ultra-fast internet connection. This is Tim Rencher, the history guy for CJ Online, talking about some events that might go down in history after happening in Topeka during this decade, which ends next Tuesday. In 2011, Mars Chocolate North America unveiled plans to build a manufacturing plant it subsequently constructed in Topeka. In 2012, Topeka police officers Jeff Atherley and David Gogian, shown here, were fatally shot in a grocery store parking lot by David Tiscarino, who was fatally shot the next morning by law enforcement. In 2013, the Topeka City Council came to consist of mostly women for the first time in its history. In 2014, Topeka Police Corporal Jason Harwood on the left was fatally shot by Ross Lane on the right, who was sentenced to life in prison and died the following year in an apparent suicide. CJ Online's most read story in 2015 was about how Jim Brownback, a brother of then Kansas Governor Sam Brownback, had been accused of harassing neighbors for years while claiming his family shielded him from scrutiny. CJ Online's most read story in 2016 was about how then Kansas Secretary of State Chris Kobach entered a meeting with President-elect Donald Trump carrying a binder spelling out his plans for the Department of Homeland Security at a time when Kobach's name was being floated for a position in the Trump administration, which he did not receive. In 2017, Denver-based SCL Health, after initially planning to close Topeka's 1,600-employee St. Francis Health, sold that hospital to Ardent Health Services and the University of Kansas Health System. It remains in operation today. 2018 brought the death of 75-year-old Linda Brown, who as a young girl had been at the center of the Brown versus Board of Education Supreme Court case that ended racial segregation in public schools. And what was potentially this year's biggest news came December 11th, when Walmart announced plans to develop a distribution center in Topeka. This is Tim Rencher, the history guy for CJ Online.